been a kind of almost magical phenomenon nobody is able to explain. I've attended film festival, literary festivals, many of them, many locations. But there was something that caught people's imagination in a way that hasn't happened elsewhere. One can have reservations about how much money is spent, the glamour, but I think that when you have at least 1,000 people, 3,000 people listening to a serious discussion around books and asking, what I love most when I go to Jaipur is the intelligence and the thoughtfulness of the questions that young people raise, and that makes it worthwhile. See, the lockdown has unleashed, and I think most of us in the middle class don't recognize, it's unleashed what is likely to be the biggest humanitarian crisis of our lifetimes. The homeless also have a lot of dignity, and they were the first, and this swelled to tens of thousands falling over each other. But within almost a week, we started getting messages from the industrial areas, the medium, small, micro enterprises, and they again had long winding lines, and we started giving food there. Now these are people who they were super exploited. They were getting 5,000-6,000 rupees. They were not getting even minimum wages, but they had built their lives. They were earning. They had taken a room on rent. They sent their children to school, and they had suddenly they were abandoned completely, and they couldn't pay their rents. They had their employers, and they didn't blame their employers because the micro, small enterprise owners, they said, were not much more well-to-do than they. They didn't have the money. We have the government, after it was, there was a lot of outrage. Our Prime Minister just says, I appeal to the employers to pay them their wages. This is now, I'm a working poor person. I don't want to live on your charity, on chance charity. There's something else also that is important, that only about 15% of informal workers have an identifiable employer, a stable identifiable employer. The others are casual daily wage workers, they go to labor addas, they're rag pickers, they're street vendors, etc. Sex workers. So even if they had listened to the Prime Minister, you were still ensuring charity to 15%. And there was no enforcement mechanism if they didn't comply. So profound lack of concern for our labouring poor, reducing them. And the people, the industrial factory workers were saying that हमने कभी भी हाथ ऐसे करके खाना नहीं लिया. This is for the first time we have to put out our hands and eat. And we had no business to push our hard-working, working poor into this kind of humiliation and shame. We just had no business. And when the middle class continues to praise and celebrate, I realize more and more that the problem is not in our government but in us.